I'm Antonio Socci and I'm the Festival Director of Swingtime in the Gardens. So my background is in music, trumpet player and vocalist. I run a jive swing band and I play with lots of other jive swing bands, including the Jive Aces. And they have a festival, East Grinstead, called Summertime Swing. It was basically from that I decided to set up and build my own festival, but incorporating lots of the different styles that I've been accustomed to over the years, so from jazz bands to jive bands and also military and police bands as well, hence why we're doing a sunset ceremony. We previously did one at Birmingham Botanical Gardens in 2013, which was very successful, 1,200 people there and a good day, but this time we decided to go bigger and hire our own field at Ragley Hall, where we're literally putting everything on ourselves. So this is big. We had 3 bands at Botanical Gardens, we're up to 14 here now. From other festivals we visited with our team, such as RF Twinwood and places like that, you gain knowledge of how they're running things and how things work, and it's really important, I think, to find out that and not be, this is how I want to do it. You know, you've got to find out what works before you commit to it, and we've been very lucky as well that I've met quite a few festival directors and they've given me their time. They've sat me down for an hour or two and said, this is what we do, and we've refined this over 15 years. We started with 600 people at our first event, we're at 15,000 now, and this is how we've done it. And it's been really nice that people have given their time to me personally to sit down and say, this is how it's done, you know. And it's a rocky journey as well. It's not all plain sailing, you know. You're going to find things that work, things that aren't as good, and you refine it along the way, and the whole emphasis is on trying to create the best festival and the best environment, the best atmosphere for the people who come on the day. And I think if you put that at the heart of what you're trying to do and see the customer journey through from the gates when they come in and walk through to how they get around and the facilities, I think you're on the right track then. Here they have other events such as the Battle Proms, and we kind of thought, you know, that's a really good benchmark to sort of base what we'd like to do on it, and we thought about 1,000 to 2,000 people is kind of where we want to start, and then build it up as a yearly festival and grow really, and be able to encourage other musicians through youth choirs and things that we're doing here on site, and actually grow the festival over a number of years. We're up to 800 pre-sales, we've got over 100 artists on site as well, and we're expecting a lot of foot sales on the door as well, especially now that the weather's turned better. Been a bit of a deluge up until the last few days, but it's just brightening now. Forecast for tomorrow is really good as well, so we're excited. We've also got Des Coleman, the ITV weatherman. He's presenting the show, so I'm hoping he brings the weather with him as well. Based on the ticket sales and seeing that it wasn't going quite as big as we thought initially, we brought one of the marquee sizes down from, it was going to be 70 metres long, even now it's still 50 metres and it's huge, so we can fit a good 600-700 people in there. That was a quite simple one. It was a phone call to the guy and saying, look, numbers aren't as expected, can we just pull it a bit down, and that saved us quite a substantial amount of money. And other little things that, you know, you might not think of initially, but toilets, for example, we'd catered for, you know, 2,000-3,000 people in toilets, and they're really good. All our supplies have been very good, and it comes down to the size required for what we need tomorrow. We're not compromising at all, so there'll be exactly the amount that are required for the numbers that we're expecting tomorrow. We've got a jive swing event going on here, so we've got lots of dancers, Lindy Hop, rock and roll, and so we've put in a 12 by 12 metre dance floor for them. We originally had a 20 by 20 dance floor, so again, on the numbers, we can bring that in, and that's going to be the size that's appropriate for this event. The VIP, there's food being served to them, a brunch at 11:30 tomorrow, and then an afternoon 2-course meal with singers and piano players in there as well. We'll have our PR wall in there where VIPs can have their photos taken as well, and really get a sense of being a bit of an extra treat for people. One of my friends who's come on board, I worked with as at TGR Fridays many years ago. He was the manager there. He's come on board as our food and beverage overseer really, and this year we've tried different models to see what would work for us, and I think what we've got is a great guy who's come on board, Mark, putting the bars in here, and we've arranged a deal with him, and we see it, as I said with the other contractors, as very much a long-term relationship that we want to build with him. And you know, yes, there's other festivals who, as you say, they get to year 3 and say we can do this ourselves, and I really genuinely see us working with this guy and building up the festival together and using their expertise in those areas to support us. And if we can grow together and give a bit back to the charities that we're supporting, that's what we're all about. There's a lot of competition, and you'll be aware that there's councils that run free events as well, which are heavily subsidised. And so, it's a real fine balance, because you've got your costs and you've got a budget for those, and it's trying to make sure that actually you can afford to pay for everything without incurring a loss, and trying to turn over a little bit of profit as well. And that's a difficult challenge, and that has been the challenge all the way through, which we're constantly evolving and constantly tweaking bits here and there to make sure that we're within our budget, or looking at where we can make savings if we need to, and that's, I think, an ongoing process that you never stop doing that, all the time. Keep an eye on that. We've got a Tim from Novum AV. He was one of the first people I spoke to in this very field about a year ago, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and said, "Tim, I've got an idea," and he's here now, and it's been amazing, the journey with him and his team here, and they've been really helpful in putting us in touch with other contractors who they've worked with and they trust, and I think that's really important, to have people you trust and that will deliver on what they say they're going to deliver. So the stage that they've got, the dance floor, and all those components of the event, it's really important to have those contacts and people you trust, and it's been really good working with Tim and his great team, and they've put us in touch with Flying High for the electricity and the stage company, and that makes a big difference, knowing that the people you've got on board are trustworthy and will do what they say, and they will deliver. Tim's team have literally come on board, and things that we wouldn't expect them to be able to do. It's been just a phone call in conversation and said, Tim or Matt, we're struggling with this at the moment. Have you got any ideas? And it's come back, yeah, we'll help you with that. We can source that, or we can put you in touch with the right people who we trust, and we know they'll deliver for you on what you need. And so that's really gone beyond our expectations, really. And of course, you build up and develop these relationships with all your contractors, and that's what we're trying to do. We've very much been honest with people and said, this is our first big event of our own in a big environment that we're doing it here. How do we do it? Where can we start? How do we grow it in subsequent years? And do you want to be a part of that family, really, that team, and see through our success over the next few years? And the ones I'm really happy to say, the ones who have come on board, are those with that vision as well. They see where we're going, and they're willing to, get involved, help us out, and advise us. We've had some great advice on the way, and it's been such a learning curve all the way, really, which we're really grateful to those people.
I'm Matt, I'm Head of Audio and one of the project managers at Novum Audio Visual. So we are currently at the Ragley Hall estate and gardens. We are here for the Swingtime in the Gardens festival, which is a single day, Saturday festival, where we've got a full range of acts from 10:30 in the morning right the way through till 10:30 at night. About 10 bands or so, 3 different areas, 3 different stages, big dance floor area for people to have a dance on. And we're here as full production AV, and also doing a little bit of site power management for them, looking after client management, those kind of things as well. On this occasion at Swingtime in the Gardens, we work very closely with Antonio, the festival organiser. Primarily, he's brought us on board because of our experience and the trust there. So there's been certain items that probably have gone beyond the remit of a traditional production company. Things like talking about where would you think we should put the food people, and where's sensible to put this. Is it sensible to get people in at this hour to do these kind of things? So we've gone beyond the remit, really, of just a lighting and audio company. We've started talking sensibly about where we should put generators and power, and calculating, what's the bar going to need, what's the traders going to need, what do food need, and taking on more of a responsibility of that. We had 2 guys on site yesterday, which was Thursday, so show day on Saturday. We built our VIP area, which is one of the stages, just a small couple of box PA system in there for a background pianist and a single acoustic artist in there. Stage 2, which is a 9 by 4 metre stage with a slightly bigger PA system in there with some monitors for the kind of the second stage bands, and then main stage behind us. This arrived all this morning at 9:30, full day build. Bit of pre-visualisation programming by our lighting designer in-house, so we have the ability to digitally build this stage, place the lighting where we want it, and then visualise what that's going to look like before we've even turned up on site. We are flying 2 hangs of the new Outline Mantis 28, new product in our inventory that we're looking at. We've been previously an Outline house with our monitors, and we've taken the step recently of moving away from another big brand to Outline, trying to keep it all mainstream in-house, so that We can be one provider of outline. We're running 4 of the GTO subs on the bottom, all running off PowerSoft X8 amps, Dante network with dual redundancies, front of house monitor consoles again linked via Dante, all digital, all run at 96k. It's hopefully going to sound really sweet. If we have some form of failure in, for example, one of the cables falls over between the two, we have immediate redundancy with no latency, which means you don't hear an audible difference if it flips between what is known as a primary and a secondary. It will automatically switch between those two. The amplifiers also have a 3rd and a 4th redundancy if required, so that if in eventuality of a cable failure or anything like that at all, it means that we can keep the show going with what will appear as no latency at all between the audio. It'll just continue right the way through. No black spots. There's nothing worse at a festival than being stood there and the PA turns itself off or something like that. The amplifiers run so economically that we're drawing hardly any power at all. Means that the generators, we're not having to spec as much, therefore the festival's not paying as much for their generators. We're flying a lot less weight. The Mantis only weighs 20 odd kilos a box as opposed to some other manufacturers, so the performance to weight ratio is better. It means as a result, again, we're not flying as much, it's not costing as much to do that. It's a very economical way about doing it, and as a result we can pass on that cost saving on to the client. Not even a dramatic number of years ago we would have had analog multi-cores which would have weighed 200-300 kilos. The cable ramp that we've got here that's a 2-channel, we're running down fibre that's super thin. We've got four channels down that, and that's purely digital, so there's no need to have a massive load of copper on site anymore. There's no longer the analog split either, so we're not running the risk of damaging equipment by knowing who's turning on phantom power and who isn't. We can link these two consoles together, so instead of running into patch boards and then running 2 separate analogs and 2 big monitor consoles and things like that, we've got a very small footprint on stage. The amplification itself, again, very small footprint, 8-channel amplification in something that traditionally would have only ever held 1 or 2 channels maybe. So we're cutting down not only on truck size but weight. These things weigh 24 kilos or something like that, and you've got around about 3,000 watt per channel, 8 channels in that kind of format. It's unheard of 10 years ago. We're not lugging around big analog consoles where they weigh half a ton or something like that. You stick 1 in the van and you're done. So it's costing us a lot less to truck this stuff around. And again, the performance on these boxes particularly, it's punching well above its size. Traditionally, these boxes would have been 4 times the size of this for this kind of output. The technology as well, it's very smooth. We use open array to design what we're going to fly. We have the ability there to target where we want to fly to. If we want to hit 70 meters away, we tell the software that's what we're trying to do. The software will calculate that for us. We put in the heights that we're going to be at, the position, and it kind of goes, right, okay, these are what you need to do. Gives you your pin out. We can trust it, so that when we're designing, we know exactly where that PA is going to throw to. We can target, so if there's a housing estate over that way, for example, we can target the low frequency specifically, get them to steer somewhere else. We have the ability, if we've got another stage like we do on this festival, it's a bit further down that way, we've targeted our PA on main stage to not hit that back tent. So having that, not just sticking it up in the air, but kind of knowing that the software is really kind of crossing over into the real world, we can trust it. So the technology's behind there. We can even, within the amplification, we run a piece of software called Smart. It's a tuning software. It means that the PA is perfectly in time. All the phase alignment means that all that audio is hitting you perfectly in time. It allows for a perfect sounding system. The amplifiers themselves can integrate Smart directly, and as a result they can technically set themselves up. There's loads of things really that have taken, not necessarily what would have been guesswork in the past, but it's opened the field to smaller AV companies to be able to branch out more into big boy festivals. Admittedly, this is the first year for Swingtime in the Gardens, and we hope it will grow and move onwards, and we go from there. There will be that slight delay in crew fatigue from being a bit bogged down by the weather, but ultimately everything is safe, everything's secure. We always leave equipment on overnight if we're outside, just to avoid any moisture, keep the fans running, those kind of things. I mean, aside from physically moving equipment around site, nothing has really differed than if it was 27 degrees. If anything, actually, you know, chuck on a coat, it's easier to take the coat off than the skin. I'd much rather it be this way around, actually. There is always the factor of wind when it comes to line array and those kind of things. That is more prominent really when you start reaching 100 metres, 150 metres bigger, much bigger spaces. Having done the plots on this and knowing what kind of level we're wanting to achieve, bearing in mind that it's a swing festival rather than a big heavy rock and roll festival, I'm confident that we've got enough headroom that if wind does start to really affect us, audio level wise, we've got enough to push the system a little bit more to counteract that. My next immediate one is a classic car auction on Monday. So that loads in Monday in Duxford Imperial War Museum. Then we've got some big British gymnastics stuff over the summer. Champ Series, which is a week long in the M&S Bank Arena. A couple of those going on, a couple in the NEC Arena, LG Arena, Resorts World Arena, those kind of things. A couple of more car auctions. A couple of other festivals. We look after a festival down near Sawbridgeworth, PX Plus Festival, which is a hospitality festival, so lots of good food. A couple of big corporate clients, a couple of their mid-year brand meetings that are going to come down on us in a couple of weeks' time, so there's plenty of stuff going on. We've got Event Tech Live coming up and the Event Tech Awards, which we look after both. Event Tech Live, 2-day event where we look after 5 or 6 stages there, multiple crew members, take all elements there really, audio, visual, lighting, and taking care of a bit of the clients with their stages, looking after them, making sure that their presentations are all working properly. And then the award ceremony, looking after the client there as well, making sure they're all happy and everything's running smoothly. We're close to the festival organisers, so it's you know, we feel pride for this festival as much as he does, and we hope that it's a big success for him for next year.
We've committed to next year here on this site. We're committed to 2 days with camping in the field opposite as well. That'll be our first time with camping facilities, and we've got great guys who are going to look after us there. So yeah, we very much see this is the start of something big, something new, and we're going to develop it over the next few years to make it a really enjoyable and fantastic festival.